Yeah, we'll see. I know some people probably aren't going to like that because I said it's not a 10 out of 10. But look, that's just my opinion. I'm a random guy on the internet, okay? Do not take anything I'm saying seriously. But show's over. I want to talk about my thoughts on it as a whole, as well as the last episode. It's going to be a lot of spoilers here, okay? I don't want to come off so overly negative because I know people do not like it when you don't have everything good to say about Marvel stuff. There were parts of the show that felt like maybe there was a little bit of a production crunch with COVID and potential things they didn't get to shoot that they had to try to shoot later. I'm not really sure what happened here, but 6 episodes didn't feel like enough. I mean, who's ever in charge of the costume design, the wardrobe for these shows, they need a raise. They need a raise. Falcon's Captain America costume, I guess Captain America's Captain America costume, looks phenomenal. I mean, pulled right out of the comics, which is good. They could have tweaked it a little bit, I'm sure. I know some people don't like the goggles. I'm cool with it, honestly. You know what I gotta say? The fact that he has the wings, I don't want to say, look, okay, he doesn't have the super soldier serum, right? Steve Rogers was on a massive amount of steroids. But, I mean, he's kind of more useful than like old Captain America because, you know, he can fly. So that's, you know, it's almost like, why didn't they think of that sooner? They're like, oh, why don't we just merge Falcon and Captain America? Yeah, that would be a lot more useful if he could fly. And what the hell would Steve Rogers have done with with that helicopter that was going to crash into the East River? Yeah, so he's great. Anthony Mackie, you know, this show, if anything, and I think kind of saw this in WandaVision, hard not to compare them, right? Come out one right after the other. It sort of made me feel like, damn, I kind of wish that Anthony Mackie had like been given more to do for like the other. I mean, how many movies was this guy in before they actually like let him have more than 2 minutes of speaking time? Like at the end of this final episode, he gives like a whole monologue about how the world needs to change and the people in charge are making the decisions, but they're making decisions that affect people that they're never ever going to meet and they don't understand the circumstances. Great stuff. Great diplomatic Captain America, equality, great stuff. But as I'm watching it, I'm like, man, you know, like it kind of feels like if you're like a fan of basketball or baseball and there's some guy who's put on the bench for most of his career, then he comes off the bench and scores 40 points and you're like, why wasn't this guy in the starting lineup? That's kind of how I felt watching the end of this episode. I guess watching the series as a whole, there's some stuff here with Bucky, White Wolf. Is he gonna go back to being evil? I think part of it too, this is going to be really, really jumbled. Okay, so feel free to click off the video. I don't know where some of these characters are headed. Anthony Mackie, and I mean nothing by this, he is a small enough star to be on the other TV shows, right? What's his name? Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., no fucking chance either of those guys will be in any of these TV shows because that's small potatoes. But Anthony Mackie, unfortunately, same with Sebastian Stan, if you're a sidekick, it opens you up to cameos all the time. I don't know, they did the US agent stuff. That was a little fast. Almost felt like they made John Walker too likable towards the end of the show because, you know, he was about to save like a bus full of, you know, random people. Although I guess, I don't know, they work for the government. So maybe he's trying to get his old job back. Who knows? They kind of made, like, you know, earlier on, they made him seem, you know, kind of like a jerk and like arrogant. And I'm sure he's still all those things. But then at the end of this episode, like him and Bucky are basically high-fiving and joking around together. I'm like, I think it was last week you guys were breaking his arms. Look, I'm glad that's all cool. The US agent costume looks great. Marvel's good, man, pulling this stuff out of the comics and bringing it to the big screen. I mean, you know, both DC, Marvel, whatever, this is not going to be a rivalry here. Obviously, it's not. Marvel will be winning by a lot, but the costumes in this show were fantastic. Elaine from Seinfeld is phenomenal. I mean, I was waiting for Kramer and George to show up, and you know, Jerry, 4 of them getting into some hijinks, some crazy stuff, but whatever, it's fine. Curious to see what they do with her. There's gonna be a lot to figure out. I think that some of the stuff they might have wanted to do with Bucky probably got pushed back or changed completely. He's clearly not going to become Captain America anytime soon, so I'm interested to see where he winds up going forward. He's got more movies on the deal, so we'll see what happens. U.S. Agent, I don't know. It's like I'm rooting for him almost now, which is weird because like the whole show I hated him, and then all of a sudden he's like ready to save a bus full of people, and I'm like back on his side. The other thing is like, okay, the show did have villains. It was that quote unquote terrorist group, right? But and Carly Morgenthau, like 3 episodes in, they have her kill those soldiers, and that sort of reeked to me of like, this person's too likable. We have to just have her like wipe out some innocent people in order to make her evil, because like that's what evil people do, right? And it's like, yeah, sort of. But then she becomes like more and more psychotic as the show goes on, and like way less likable, which is good. But then at the end of this episode, Sam is like sad that she died. And I get, because he's, what makes him great is that he sees the good in people, just like Steve Rogers. But, except for the part where he almost tried to kill Iron Man. But, but she was like, she was gone. Like this woman was straight crazy. She was full psychopath, murdering everyone, kill hostages, whatever. Even her own terrorist buddies were like, yo, we signed up for a terrorist group, but like not like this. Like this woman is straight up out of her mind. So, I don't know. A good villain. I mean, again, yeah, Marvel villains, they kill them. That's what they do. They kill the villains. Power Broker. I think we all kind of knew who it was. It was sort of a dead giveaway, which is like, it's fine. I don't think they were trying to hide it that much. They made it pretty obvious that Agent Carter was going to be Power Broker. So that's cool. These Marvel TV shows so far, to me, are somewhere between average and slightly above average. Okay, they don't have the budget and they don't have the time, and at least for the first couple, these are not series. These are limited TV productions, some of which were affected by COVID. WandaVision, they had to chop off a whole last episode, condense it into 9 instead of 10. This one feels like it might have been 8 episodes and they smushed it into 6, because as I finished, I'm like flipping back and I'm like, damn, is that really all there was? Like, yeah, it doesn't seem like that much really happened. Not that, that's not the case. A lot of stuff did happen. This was an interesting show. I enjoyed it for the most part. I think these shows need more than one season. Like, there's stuff here that feels like even the people writing it know that for it to make more sense or hit harder, like if Carly Morgenthau had died at the end of like season 3 or season 2, and there had been even more development to her character, which was complex, but like not as, I guess complex for Marvel. It felt like maybe that would have hit a lot harder. Or Sam being sad that she was dead would have hit a lot harder. But, there's stuff they're setting up here where it's like, well, if you don't do a second season, then I don't know when you're going to come back to like tie up any of these loose ends. I don't know how hard any of this stuff, if you're going to have to explain this stuff in the films going forward for people who didn't watch the show, then you should have just put it in the movies. But, we'll see. I know some people probably aren't going to like that because I said it's not a 10 out of 10. But look, that's just my opinion. I'm a random guy on the internet, okay? Do not take anything I'm saying seriously. Overall, Anthony Mackie, fantastic. I want to see him do more stuff. I'm excited if he does take over as Captain America for real, not in the TV show. Just I want him to be the real Captain America who's in a fucking Avengers movie. And we'll see how it goes from there. I didn't write this, can you tell? I didn't draft this out ahead of time, so